Life Global. I'm your host, Mike. And today's topic, what we'll be discussing is the importance of the individual that you are dealing with on a platonic level, on a friendly level, or on a physical level. And one of the reasons why it's so important is because of the chance that you may conceive a child with this person. And in today's time, I feel like we're not putting enough importance on how the decisions that we're making as far as whom we're starting, I'm not even going to say starting families, that's the issue, on who we're just having babies with. The wedlock issue, unfortunately, is a way of life in this day and time, and it doesn't necessarily make it right at all. But as to not condemn, at one of the very least we could do is to pay close attention on individuals that we're actually going to have children with. Pay close attention to the individuals that we're actually going to have babies with. Understanding the fact that this is a lifetime decision that you'll be making when you're dealing with this person, because in the event that this person, you're pregnant by this person, or you get this person pregnant, we're talking mainly to the men, mainly right now. The ladies can listen in, and that's cool. I think it's important that this is listened in to this type of conversation and this dialogue. Excuse me. But this one is for the gentleman, in hopes that we start to pay more attention to the females that we're dealing with and make wiser decisions for ourselves, so that we can preserve our futures, that we can give ourselves some room to breathe in life. Because having children is a really big deal. Even for an individual who feels as if they're not going to fully live up to the responsibility will catch up to you. So you don't want to put yourself in a position that having a child with someone that you really don't know will put you in. Females are wired differently than men. Men are wired differently than females. It seems as if both begin to feel indifferent as soon as there is a child involved, a potential newborn. I'll give you a reason why. It's because two individuals are enjoying each other. They're enjoying each other's company. They're enjoying the friendship that they have with one another. And raising a baby has nothing to do with any of this interaction. So now we have, or now one has, or two have a baby on the way, and it had nothing to do with date day, date afternoon, like event weekends, where you go out on the weekends, study night, anything. A baby didn't have anything to do with that. And this is, to be honest, one thing that I don't kind of understand either. And there's one thing that I feel like we should really like correct on the dating scene is that when you're enjoying someone's company and it has nothing to do with raising a family or raising a child to become a human being and being responsible for a child for the next at least 18 years, then I don't, like, there's an issue when two individuals interrupt this great time that they're having to do something that neither one of them had in line to do, and that's have a child. What I feel like a wise thing to do for the gentleman is, and this is for all races, but I am speaking to my race, definitely. But this is for all races, all nationalities, all cultures. What the men should start doing is first understand your future. Understand what you're giving up just for a good time. You're giving up essentially part of your freedom. When you have a child out of love, you can spend 24 hours with them. When you have a child by a mistake, it is a burden to some. We got to be honest and have these conversations so that we can do something about it. So that we're being physical and we're not thinking about the future that we have ahead of us, potentially, even if we're not in the middle of living one. The future that we have potentially. The options that we'll have ahead of us. A lot of us are having babies before our brains are even fully developing. A lot of you guys are having kids before your brains are fully developing. We've had kids before we are even financially stable. These are some of the reasons why I say that we should wait. You guys should wait. Don't be in a hurry to just be with anybody, because what I'll tell you is there are repercussions. The family court is really not going to be on your side. They're just going to pretty much look at what you make, chop off a large percentage of that, and give this to the female that you've had a baby with that you barely even know. You hardly know this person, and you've had a baby with this person. There's a financial consequence to this. The emotional consequence is there's an initial fee to file an application just for visitation rights. There's an initial fee. Yes, we have to pay an initial fee just for visitation rights. then you have to go through the court system, and you'll only get like the weekends, or a couple of times a month or something like that, which is unfair, number one, to the child. All of this is unfair to the child. The behavior between two individuals who had a great time until a child was brought into the picture are both partially responsible for how this affects the child. In today's time, there are too many children just simply being born into this earth like it's no big deal. It's just something to do. This is because, one, we're not valuing our own lives and our own futures and the potential that our futures have in them. And so there's a vicious cycle of bringing lives onto this earth with no goals in mind for this life. This life is almost a victim of circumstance, because this life will not be given the full potential that it deserves. It'll just be brought into this world under a circumstance that it has no power over. This in turn is because we're not valuing the power that we've been given from the source of the power, which is God. Each of us are born unto this earth as tools and fingers of God. Everything that is built by God. Everything that's made is made by God. Everything that was created by God, by humans which God created, and we're his fingers, we're his hands. So in turn, he brings us to this earth to do his work. Many times we don't understand that we're vessels, and the children that are born unto this earth are for God's purpose, and we're supposed to give the babies and the children back to God for God's purpose. So the fact that we're not respecting our own lives, we're not respecting God first and foremost. So we're not respecting God's purpose. So this is what we got to start to do. We got to start respecting the creator of 100 billion universes. We got to understand his purpose at some point. A lot of us would like to wait until we get older to get to know God. And a lot of times we don't get that privilege to get old. One just might not make it to old age to get to know God. It's one thing for us to sweep things under the rug, but to be honest, we can't really talk about God anywhere. Schools, institutions, to be honest, God is being blackballed. So what we've got to do is we've got to get to know God for ourselves. We got to start having honest conversations about fornication. We got to start having honest conversations about sex. And the lack of discipline. One thing that we lack in this department, and listen, my motto, guys, is let's grow together. I'm growing just as well as everybody else. We just have different levels of discipline. But at any time, temptation can enter anybody's life. Growing doesn't stop. Your whole life, you're growing your whole entire life. You go from different levels to different levels. Age doesn't bring a stop of a growing level of levels of growth and development in your life. It continues throughout your lifetime. Even in your elder age, there's always something to learn. So discipline is what helps us to be able to make better decisions when we're dealing with someone. And sometimes, I was going to say earlier, I think that what I was going to say was, one tip that I have is to be honest with the person that you're dealing with. Sometimes we're dealing with individuals, but we're not ready to have an actual baby with them. We don't want to bring a baby into this world with them. We have a great time hanging out, but we don't want to bring a baby into the world because we're having a great time hanging out. We've got to start seeing something wrong with that behavior, guys. We've got to start saying something wrong with the behavior of we're hanging out, we're having a great time, and then here comes a baby, and then we're stuck. And then we're playing, okay, whose fault is it? Nobody's fault. It is somebody's fault. It's everybody's fault, right? But we have to be honest with one another. A male isn't going to actually bring the baby into this world. A female is. We got to keep in mind that a male doesn't have this burden. It's harder on females. I like the females to understand it. It's really not worth 9 months of what you have to go through over just having a good time with somebody that slipped into actually creating a life and raising a child. We've got to understand that when we have children, it needs to start being more blessed in my culture, to be honest with you. So we got to start having conversations and saying, hey, I'm not ready to necessarily have a baby. We can hang out 24/7, but I'm really not interested in having a baby. I need to let you know this ahead of time before we start hanging out. So in the case that you're not able to stop when you need to stop, then you're aware that, okay, this is a person that I shouldn't be hanging out with because I don't have the discipline and the power to stop when I should be stopping. This person doesn't have the power or discipline to stop when they should be stopping. And so that we don't procreate, let's cut this off and only deal with individuals who are like-minded. You don't want to be an individual who has an agenda. If you really don't want a baby and you're dealing with a female who you haven't made this known to and who may not feel like you feel about that situation. So you might want to have these conversations ahead of time and say, hey, I'm not ready to start a family. That way you guys can be honest with each other in the beginning. And this way it builds the communication up, and it also ensures that both individuals secure their future. Having a good time with someone does not have to result in having a baby and bringing a life into this world. And neither one of you guys are ready to do this. We've got to start being more responsible with the decisions that we're making and stop making lust in our lives a top priority. Especially at a certain age. We expect a certain demographic and age of men to go through this at a young age. But at a certain age, we've got to understand, as I said, I'm still in position as well. to make them, to possibly do something like this and regret it. So it's a thing about let's grow together. But what I'll tell you is it's a mental thing, it's a discipline thing. You have to look at your future and think about what you want to do in your future. Where do you want to go in your life? Do you have any goals? Because a lot of times we do things when we don't have any goals, like when we're bored, we just do things. We don't see a future. And so it's kind of like we jag off our future because we don't see one. But you've got to make a future for yourself. You've got to create a future for yourself. The future doesn't just fall out of the sky. You have to create a future for yourself. Give yourself a goal, something to look forward to, and then you'll secure your future. You'll be more secure and confident in yourself. And saying that you don't want to lock yourself down. A lot of you guys haven't traveled. There's traveling to do. You're young and you're locking yourself down. Travel. Go get out of town. Go somewhere. Visit other places. You might want to relocate. There's opportunities in different cities. Travel. Do some traveling. Live your life. Get into your career. Create a career for yourself. Lift your financial status. Keep yourself in a position where you don't have this responsibility, where you can work as many hours as you want. You can put in so much overtime. You can lift yourself into another life just by budgeting, saving your money. Work hard and save. Budget your money and save. And when you put yourself in different positions, you'll be able to, you might find another opportunity somewhere, doing something that you never thought that you were able to do or that you had the ability to do. It's when you start to get out and network. It's when you start to see a future for yourself that you allow yourself these opportunities, that you allow yourself to have some fun in life. Don't be so quick to lock yourself down. Get your life in order. Give yourself some time to breathe. Enjoy life. Be young. Enjoy life. Be middle-aged. Once you have a child at a certain age, don't be so quick to have another one. Now you're old enough to travel, get around. You may want to take some classes or something. Don't be so bored in life that the only thing you have to do is create kids or have kids. And then you bury yourself essentially. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. It's so much harder to do these things if you do. I mean, it's simple science if you really think about it. If you don't boggle yourself down with responsibility, you have ample time to do so much more in life. So, I just want to be an example. Excuse me. Not be an example. I just want to give you guys examples of how to create futures for yourself and not bury yourself by having children and we're not even really bringing them into this world with love. That's another issue. We're not even really bringing kids into this world with love. We're bringing kids into this world with an agenda. We've got to start understanding these kids that we're having, these children that we're bringing into this earth are for God's agenda, not our agenda. They're for God's agenda, not our agenda. You don't have to raise them in a church or anything. To be honest with you, just to raise your kid, your child up to be a responsible adult, well, I mean, to be honest with you, is pretty decent. I feel like God could do the rest. The least we could do is to bring our kids into this world and really hand them over to God before they even brought to the earth. We have to start putting our kids in position to be somebody. At a certain age, we may need to move out of certain neighborhoods to give our kids opportunities and a proper education. We can't be so comfortable at our certain ages that we want to stay in certain areas because it's convenient for our social life. What's convenient for your social life is not convenient for your child's future. We got to start thinking differently. We got to start thinking differently about like how we're just irresponsibility on the men's part. We can't make excuses either. I'll tell you something, like a lot of times you got to put yourself in position. You got to put yourself in a position, stable employment, stable roof over your head, where your child can come see you on the weekends at the very minimum. A lot of times a female will tell you you can't see your kids, and what you got to do is you got to go to the court system sometimes. Like, you can't just sit here and argue with somebody 24/7 about seeing your kids. You got to take the first, you have to make a move, you have to take a step, make a move and go to the court system. Family court, pay the initial fee, and get some time with your kids. It's essential. Each individuals have different situations. So it's not just in general that all dudes just go run to the family. Everybody has their unique situation. But what I am saying is there's something that you can do if you're not allowed to see your kids. You can go to the court system and apply for visitation. So if you're not able to, if you're arguing, you're not able to go, oh, she won't let me see my kids. All right, well, you have to go down to your local family court and you have to apply for visitation. So we don't have any excuses on why we're not being a father to our kids at some point in our life. Again, our social life is not going to give our kids, our children, a future. It's important that we stop having kids not out of wedlock, but out of lust. It's important that we stop having children out of lust. There is nothing for anybody to be perfect. Nobody's this perfect person. Like, we all do what we do. But we don't have to smear it in God's face, though. I don't judge anybody on what they do. I'm a heterosexual male, a straight male, not bisexual, not curious. But I don't judge anybody. The least I could do is not smear anybody's life in their face, right? We just got to try to build each other up and make each other better citizens, you know what I'm saying, and better human beings. And we can't do that when we condemning individuals. But we do have to speak up, and so we got to stop having children out of lust. We got to start having more there needs to be more love when you're bringing a whole child into this earth. It's one thing for you to fly around, do what you do, females, males, men, women, guys, gals, but you don't have to have a baby to do this. Y'all don't have to create a baby to do this. When you're having a ball with somebody, a baby just gets in the middle. That's why individuals stop getting along, because you're having a ball with somebody and a baby really has nothing to do with it. So we got to start doing everything that we can do to enjoy each other but not have babies out of lust, guys. It's an issue. And we gotta stop putting ourselves in these positions. And so practice discipline. Mental health is part of discipline. Every video I'm probably gonna talk about mental health. It's what you need for discipline, for your decision-making skills. That you're able to see your priorities over lust. Alright, guys. Thanks for all y'all support. I really do appreciate y'all support. Motivational Life Global.